Hi, it's Kim here, and I'm going to be talking today about equivalent fractions. And just before we start, I'm going to show you a very simple visual that you could show children. This is a carton of eggs which has 12 eggs in it if it's full. If I have my carton half full, I have half a carton of eggs, which is the same as 6 out of 12. So that's an equivalent fraction. 1/2 equals 6/12. If I'm looking just at the blue eggs, I've got 3/12, and that's the same as 1/4. So that's a very good visual way of looking at fractions. So a half of that carton was 6 out of 12, but if I've got a smaller carton, a half is also 3 out of 6. So my 1/2 has also been explained or renamed as 3 out of 6, 6 out of 12, and likewise there are other possibilities. So that's what equivalent fractions means. It really just means renaming a fraction as a function of different numbers. Today I'm going to think about how I can use equivalent fractions, and that's for adding when the denominator is different. I can't add a quarter and a third unless I've renamed them. So what I'm going to be doing is, I've got a picture here, and the top of my fraction represents the shaded area. So this relates to my quarter. 1 is the number on the top, and the total is how many pieces altogether, and there are 4. So that's what my 1/4 is. I'm going to actually subdivide each of those pieces into 2 now. So I'm really going to multiply my shaded area by 2 to get to here. And overall, I've now got 8 pieces. So all of a sudden, I've actually renamed 1/4 to be the same as 2/8. That's still of no use to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to get rid of that one for now. I'm going to rename my quarter by splitting it into 3 pieces. So I've split this into 2. Now I'm going to split my shaded area into 3 pieces. Oh, where's my 3? Wrong one. And now you can see that's been multiplied by 3. So I've now got 3 on my top line. And on the overall, I had 4, but I've actually broken each one into 3, so 4 3s are 12. So on my bottom line I've got 3/12. So 1/4, we've actually now shown that 1/4 is the same as 2/8, and it's also the same as 3/12. So all of those things are equivalent. So we are going to just leave those there for the moment and have a look at our third and see what we can do with our 1/3. Okay, so in a similar way, I'll just take those out for the moment. Here's my 1/3. So I've got 1 on my top of my fraction and 3 on the bottom. I'm going to start off again and split each piece into 2. So I've gone from 1/3. 1 times 2 is 2. And overall I had 3, but I've multiplied that by 2, so now I've got 6. And you can see I've got 2 shaded pieces out of 6 overall. So 1/3 is the same as 2/6. And that's actually not in here, so I can't still add those together because there's nothing similar about those numbers. I'm now going to say, well, I've got my 1/3. I'm going to split each thing 3 times. 1, 2, 3, so I've got 1 shaded area multiplied by 3 now gives me 3, and I've got 3 pieces altogether. 3 3s are 9, so now I've actually written that 1/3 is 2/6, 3/9. That hasn't helped me still because none of those have got a 6 or a 9 on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to try this one. I've got my original, I'll take those out of the way just to make it a bit easier to see. Got my original 1/3. I'm going to split this into 4 pieces. So now I've actually got 4 on the top line, and I had 3 pieces. Multiply that by 4, I've now got 12. And all of a sudden I've actually got 12ths there and 12ths there. So they're the ones I'm going to use. I've got, if I clear out some of this, my 1/4 up here is 3/12, and my 1/3 is 4/12. So I'm dealing with the same denominator. So I've all of a sudden now got 3/12 plus 4/12 and that gives me 7/12. So I've found a common denominator, and if you notice, 4 3s are actually 12. That leads me to the next step. So when you're working through these, and you've done a few examples of those, you're not going to want to do that all the time. That's really just to demonstrate where the multiplying comes in. So the best way to work out is to say 4 3s are 12. I'm going to make that my denominator. To get that to 12, I have to split it 3 times, so multiply that by 3 gives me 3, and for that one I had to split it 4 times, so 4 3s were 12 and 4 1s are 4. You will notice as you get going that you might find a lower common denominator, so were you to have something like 1/6 plus 1/4, you might multiply it by 4 and get 4/24 plus 6/24. But equally, you might see that 6 and 4 both go into 12, so you may be able to actually skip a step and say that's the same as 2/12 plus 3/12. And you'll arrive at the same answer. You've got 5/12 there, and here you've got 10/24, which if you now divide that by 2, you'll get 5, divide that by 2, you'll get 12. The dividing and multiplying comes from using those fraction pieces to actually see that you're subdividing your sections to rename them. So that is how we do equivalent fractions in order to add them. Subtracting takes on a similar thing. Thank you.